about what career options to go for next? Well, look no further. I, Priya Singh from Open Magazine, the media venture of the RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, welcome you in the discussion with the industry experts talking about mainstream and alternative career options. Joining us on the panel today are Dr. DNS Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Ansal University, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, Vice Chancellor, World University of Design, and Dr. Balvinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, Amity University. Welcome you all on the panel. Diving into this discussion straight ahead, my question is that today we are more informed than ever. There's information left, right, and center, which is probably leaving the students more confused. So my question is directed to you, Ms. Balvinder. What, according to you, are the new age career options that the students should look out at?
Very good morning, everybody. And first of all, I would like to thank the Open Magazine for giving this opportunity to share our experiences and our views on the very important topic, the future careers for the youth. Today, if you look at the way the industry has emerged and Industry 4.0, and especially now when you talk about the COVID-19 pandemic, how the people have started working from home, even the education institution have been affected very much, where the education, face-to-face education has moved to remote teaching or the online teaching, and so that means, and the new education policy which has come on also, that is very forward looking education policy, which is envisaging that how to make the students industry ready. So the careers, when you look at earlier, the career, the doctor, the engineer, the chartered accountant, that were the careers parents used to think and all those things. But today when we look at that, there are so many career options are there, and many of them are the purely the technology enabled careers. When you talk about the artificial intelligence, data analytics, we talk robotics, we talk blockchain, and cyber security, and fashion designing, and the UI and UX, when you look at the all kind of things. So technology enabled lot many careers are opportunities are there. And my only advice to everybody is that look, don't look for only for the traditional job profiles. Even the once the COVID is over, it will not be the same again. The industry, it will be the different. There will be the some job will be the working from the office, but many of the jobs will be the much more technology enabled. So if you talk about the higher order cognitive skills will be required, higher order the this thing. So if the person need to know how the application, how the evaluating the situation, how creating the new products, services, and all those things. So therefore, the all areas, whether you talk to the avionics, whether you talk about the nanotechnology, whether you talk about the design thinking based career. So lot many, even the communication is content development, the blogging, all those are going to be the way of the new career. So
The
so there
future.
are lot many opportunities are there.
So what I gather from you is technology-based cognitive skills are the requirement of future primarily, and everything else that has to do with the person's self-interest. Dr. Sanjay, what do you have to say on this? What are the few career options that the students should look out at?
Yes, I think Dr. Bhavinder was saying that the times are changing and new careers are emerging with new demands. In fact, as most people are saying, that things are going to change so much in future that we really do not know what kind of careers are going to be 5 years hence. What we can only do at this moment is make some educated guesses and plan for it. And but one thing which is emerging very clearly is that design or design thinking or the ability to think creatively is going to be very much in demand across board. So demand has really came across for design-based courses, which are considered to be the horizontal across all verticals. So if you look at fashion, which is an evergreen subject, yes, it will become more sustainable, but fashion is going to have a continuous demand. We have technology-based courses like product design, interior design, transportation design, industrial design, which is going to absorb the new tech coming in, as also the AI and cloud computing and IoTs and those kind of courses, and become more relevant to the future. So design management is another something which is going to emerge in a strong way. So this is how the future looks like to me, including, I think one more thing I have left out is that with the pandemic coming in and that kind of the effect it is having on people, as we are seeing, visual arts has emerged as another segment where people are finding a lot of relief in going out and expressing their thinking about it. So that's another career I'm looking at.
And one thing that I remember from our discussion is that we have to make a decision now for something that has to happen 5 years into the future. So we should be geared up in our education for that long.
What we are discussing now will become relevant for people who are going to come into the jobs 5 years hence, 4 years hence. So we are thinking about them.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that answer. Moving ahead, I think our discussion today will be incomplete if we do not touch upon the point of the new education policy. So Dr. Kumar, what do you have to say about the new education policy which has come into play? How is it going to affect the careers of the students, and especially students who are in the system right now? How does it affect the education system and the career?
Well, if I have to mention about new education policy and the opportunities which are there and which further are going to emerge are tremendous, right? The future of education today and post-COVID has to be more so oriented towards vocational education, skill-based education, multidisciplinary education, and agro-horticulture sector-specific education. That is what we see in the national education policy. When I say so, let me give some examples. What national education policy is trying to convey and try to implement along with the educational institutions is, in addition of creating the educated people, the national education policy's main focus is how skill and competency along with the attitudinal formation can be established among the people. So why the national education policy is focusing on this is, currently in the higher education, the number of students who get enrolled are very less in number than the educatable people. The gross enrollment ratio that we have is just 26.3. And by 2035, Prime Minister wished to take it to 50%. Now, when I say skill and competency based, you see, education is not just for a knowledge. Education is to address the issues and the problems in the country. If I have to give an example, taking the document which is there with the Niti Ayoga, the then Planning Commission has come out with one working paper. In India, every year 12,300 crore worth of fruits and vegetables we waste. And we hardly have processing center for this. Therefore, we dump on the roadside because market prices are very poor. Now, if you process all these fruits and vegetables which you are wasting, the value of this processed fruits and vegetables will be 43,000 crore. So the payback period is less than 4 months. Okay. Now, what is required is the young, the budding, the managers or budding entrepreneurs or technocrats have to identify this kind of opportunities. And this is what Niti Ayoga, along with the national education policy, is trying to aim. To bring, new people for Make in India. This is what the national education policy is focusing on. One example also, to build one aircraft, we require 5 lakh spare parts. But today, India has established 7 special economic zones to make the spare parts and components. Now, henceforth, we need not depend on anything to be imported to build the aircraft. Now, who is making all this, or who has to make all these spare parts and components? The young technocrats who are coming from the engineering colleges and management institutions. So this kind of opportunities, the national education policy is trying to show a light to the budding, the educators.
Wonderful, sir. So what I gather from your information is that the education policy is actually focused on developing skills and competencies of these students who are more valuable to the country rather than just having another degree in their forte. So a wonderful thought on that, sir. Thank you so much. And from that, I'll move on to my third question, which is, as you mentioned, the skills and competency-based education system is in place. Now, what, according to you all, is the right age wherein a student should get this career guidance? Where do it start from? Dr. Sanjay, starting from you.
Yes, I think one of the things which even the policy has brought out is that careers choices have become important, and we need people to guide people into what is going to be of need 4-year hence and 5-year hence, so that they also get a job and the nation also gets the right kind of human resource to work on it. But what is coming across is that the perception of students, and more importantly their parents, needs to be in line with this thinking. So I think the right age is the 5 plus 3 plus 3, when it is 3 plus 3 plus 3, when it gets over, at that time when it moves into the class 9th or 10th, that's when the people need to start thinking, and the parents need to start thinking and try to move in a general direction where they can actually think of going into a career which follows their heart, which follows their interests. And that is something which we need to focus on. And what I was been suggesting is that we may have some kind of forum where the students and parents can both get guidance about emerging careers. What are they supposed to be doing, and how are these careers going to be useful for them? Because I think for most of our population, the prime thinking is what careers can give better returns, better salaries, better packages, better life. And that is something which needs to be told to them. So that is the age.
I think you bring in 3 very beautiful points together. A kid has to experiment early on. A parent has to understand where the heart lies, and the system has to support it. Now, bringing your point on the returns. So as Indian parents, we're very focused on what careers we choose and what kind of results do they have in the long run. So maybe Ms. Balwinder, you can throw some light on how these careers in the place of interest and passion can also have good returns and something to support our lives with.
See, for everybody, the return has a different meaning. For some, the return meaning is the money, money, money. But for others, is the satisfaction, the happiness, what one does, and also earn the livelihood, which makes the life comfortable. So it's very important. So what Professor Sanjay Gupta was saying, that is the interest and the passion. So it's very important what the individual wants. Even today, there's a lot of the parents have their own aspiration. They want that our son or daughter should be achieving this in life and being that this kind of career. But what exactly the individual wants to have his or her career is very important. Not necessarily the great engineer's son will also like to become an engineer, or great doctor's son will also like to become a doctor. Maybe he would like to become a painter. Maybe like to become a musician. So it purely depends upon what makes an individual happy, satisfied. As I said, that the career opportunities are in every field, and that's how the new education policy has come. It's not only focusing on the core discipline, but also the liberal arts have become very, very important. Because if you want to be a good engineer, you must understand the society, you must understand the industry, you must understand the environment and all. So
Yeah.
therefore, so the career team, the aspirations are, the individual's aspirations. The parents have to be supportive to their children rather than, pushing them, choose only this discipline or choose that discipline. And I think that today's students, the kids are very smart, they know what they want. The only thing they need a bit of counseling, they need the support, and they need the appreciation what they are doing, rather than criticizing them. No, no, this is not the good field. Who will, I remember one of my nephew, way back around 20 years back, 25 years back, he said he wants to get into journalism. And family did not support him at that time, because what journalism, chappal pehan ke idhar udhar ghumte rahoge kind of thing. And today he's the the greatest storyteller, Nilesh Mishra, you may be knowing. So look at the parents need to understand what the individual wants. So it's very, very important how they support. I've got n number of examples in my university who took admission in engineering, then they moved to journalism, or they moved to the fine arts, or they moved to the fashion technology, but they did not have any interest in engineering, because in family everybody was engineer, or in the family they were all doctors, so they wanted the biotechnology, the right field for you.
Okay.
So it's not that don't do the comparison of the siblings or the family or the friends' children. Look at what your son or your ward wants, and that's the way the focus has to be.
Thank you for bringing that point up, ma'am. And I really hope those who are listening can really appreciate each individual child for the talent that they are. Thank you for bringing that point. Coming to my final question, Dr. Kumar, there's a data that shows that after this pandemic is over, 30% of the jobs will be gone. They'll be taken over by artificial intelligence, computer science, and everything else. So, how do you think that this pandemic is going to affect the future of education and careers?
Let me give some report that recently came from Parliamentary Committee on COVID-19 headed by Anand Sharma, a member of Parliament from Congress. Now, out of 18 crore SMEs that we have, only 9% of the SMEs have been affected. And rest all SMEs have progressed well. What is more important to understand as an entrepreneur or as a budding entrepreneur, nothing is permanent. You have to bring a new product. You have to be relevant, and you have to create that kind of ecosystem. New products have to be created, new services have to be added, new leadership styles have to be brought, and new value added attributes in the product has to be brought in. You want to market the same product over a period of 5 years or 10 years, there is no market for that. You take, for that matter, any product, the product which entered the market, never it remained in the market, same product even for 2 years also. Disruption in the products, disruption in the services is required, and which has to be imbibed by the educational institutions also. As Sanjay was mentioning about design thinking, critical thinking, what kind of attributes can be brought to the products and services is very important. And if entrepreneurs or the students who are learning in different institutions, maybe in any discipline, it is not that engineering students or management students only can start the entrepreneurship. A liberal arts student also can start the entrepreneurship. I'll give an example. In 2012, I remember a girl passed out from IIM Bangalore, and she was offered 4 crore rupees per annum as a package. She refused that offer and started Bharatanatyam Institute in Bangalore. And as Balwinder Shukla was mentioning, it's a happiness, it is a satisfaction. And equally, she is making good money also. Mm-hmm. If I have to give another example, a gentleman who passed out from IIT Chennai, and who had lost his father and mother was doing idli sambar business, and he started the idli sambar business. He has today chain of stalls, not in one state, but in 7 states. Out of box thinking is very important.
I'm so glad that you brought these examples up because they knit our whole conversation together. As ma'am said, it has to be from a place of heart and passion. And as Dr. Sanjay Gupta mentioned, there has to be critical and creative design thinking to design a business and to move forward with it. And Dr. Kumar, as you mentioned, maybe entrepreneurship is a way to go forward, entrepreneurship in the area of your interest. So this is how a student should look at making his life ahead. And we are closing our discussion after this, and I'm really glad with the kind of content that has come in. But before we close, just from the top of your head, if you all can give me 2 or 3 career options that whoever's listening to can look at going ahead. So, Dr. Sanjay, just 2 or 3 top career options that students should look at.
The first career option at this moment I would recommend is something which merges the digital technologies and design. So we have a lot of such options coming there within this thing, but you should look at it. Visual arts is another one, and the design management is the third one, which I think in the coming days are going to really become very, very important.
Ms. Balwinder?
Look at the way the industry scenario is there. I would say the first and foremost, the career option should be the starting own venture.
Okay.
Because the government is very supportive, and it's only that if you have the idea, and if you can help, use the technology, and that you can be the supplier to anybody, you can have the developer an app and all kind of things. The first and foremost, one should think of starting own venture. Even if you fail over a period of time, and if you do not want to continue with that, the experience which you will gain out of that will be of immense values when you go and join any company. That field which we talk about, the data analytics, is one of the very emerging area when you look at. Second is the content development, because the students who are from the English and those areas, and there could be the design based, that could be the anything, as Professor Sanjay Gupta said initially, the design based. So the design based could be any field, from communication to the product to the theme to anybody. So design based careers are very much in demand.
Wonderful, fam. So data is the power of future. Content, be an entrepreneur, start your own venture. Thank you. And Dr. Kumar, your top 3.
I would suggest to existing executives, employees, and also the new generation employees also think of contract farming. A lot of barren land is there across the country. How this barren land can be made use for producing more agro-based products. That is number one. Number two is having produced the grains or agriculture products, how you can establish a small enterprise of your own to process the agriculture products. That is number two. Number three is you have a tremendous scope to take up small products which are used at home, that is homemade products, wherein investment is small, returns are very high, and satisfaction is great.
Brilliant, sir. So I think that is wonderful that has come out. Use the resource which is available, the land. Agro is the point of future, and small home run businesses can genuinely develop us, build our spine as a country as well. I express my immense gratitude for taking out the time and doing this. Open Magazine is extremely thankful to all of you to have taken out the time and do this with us. I genuinely hope the students and the parents who are listening to this webinar benefit out of it. There's some wonderful points that had come up. So thank you so much, Dr. Sanjay, Dr. Balwinder, and Dr. DNS Kumar for doing this with us. Thank you. I'm Priya Singh from Open Magazine. Until next time, keep reading Open Magazine. Thank you.